And the next thing, the next wave, and this Professor Mohapatra talked about it as well, is going to be the robot, right? Actually, that is where the West will be able to make good its loss of labor that they are seeing. Make good not entirely, but to some extent surely. What about us? We don't have any shortage of people. If we don't have any shortage of people, how are we going to use it? And that is where I think is the biggest reason for us to lean into AI, as has been talked about by everybody. The biggest reason is that we are a very populous nation. We have 600,000 villages, 1.4 billion people, and a lot of them do not have the services or the abilities that they actually deserve. And the reason for that is, without technology, on a brick and mortar manner, there is no way that you can give the services that these people actually deserve. Whether it be services like medicine, whether it be services like education, whether it be citizen services that the government should render, none of these can be done unless we use technology. We proved that in the Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana. We had been trying to do financial inclusion for 14 long years before we did PMJDY. Yes, PMJDY was run like a project. That was one of the reasons we succeeded. But the bigger reasons were that we used technology for it. We used Aadhaar, which gave us the Know Your Customer, without which a bank account cannot be opened. And we used the mobile network, the communications network, that enabled us to reach those 600,000 villages. Without these technologies, PMJDY would not have been anywhere. Now, what happened with PMJDY? Everybody got a bank account, right? Now, with the bank account, what happened? We also brought in the QR technology, the mini ATMs, the POS machines, all of that was distributed across the country. And as we got more and more used to using POS and using QR codes and formalizing the informal economy, people in the informal economy started being included in the organized financial sector, thereby improving their lifestyles, increasing the sizes of their business, overall achieving the goals of financial inclusion that we actually had. That was pure technology play. Today again, if we want to improve the quality of the people who go into the state hospitals, if we want to improve the kind of pedagogy that we are able to give those 60 students in a class, at the end of the day, they are not a marching battalion of any armed forces. They cannot all march in step, but they have to do so today because we don't have the ability to individualize curricula for each student. AI, at long last, allows us to do all of this, allows us to target treatment, allows us to create curricula for yourself, allows a person who may not be very good in communication to actually write an intelligible letter to whoever are the authorities to say, these are my problems, address them. And for the authority also to take it in and then actually act on it, because we now have agents that can generate or rather trigger the automation part of that particular workflow if it is not something that needs a lot of human intervention. What happens to the humans in the chain? While overseeing all of this, they actually can become more human. The state government hospital doctor who never even looks up to see the patient's face because he doesn't have the time can now actually look up and refine whatever is the preliminary diagnosis given by the agent by talking to the person and really understanding whether this diagnosis holds or it should be something different. So basically, in my view, for the first time, we are getting a chance in this technological age for humans to become more human. But if we do it well, if we remember that there has to be ethical use for it, if we do it for the benefit of mankind, if we do it without allowing it to become the controlling factor, if we do it with full understanding of where we are going, how we control it, how we guard it, and how we direct it. And therefore, my request to all of you is that we need to dive in, we need to really lean in, we need to internalize this. And if we can do that, I can see before us a huge shift in the way we live, the manner of our lives, the standards of our living, and the way we can actually bring all of our potential to fruition. So thank you again very much for having me. It's been a great honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Arundhati Bhattacharya ma'am, for the deeply insightful address. We would like to felicitate you and request Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee, CEO of ABP Group, to do the honors of felicitating Padma Shri Arundhati Bhattacharya. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the leadership keynote. We now have a very thought-provoking session on the journey from automation to autonomy. Please help me welcome Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh, Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer, Accenture. Please put your hands together for Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh.
Good afternoon. I think as a fifth speaker, I also have a same problem, that we have learned a lot about the technology, starting from AI to blockchain to new chip and everything since morning. I lead AI initiative for Accenture globally for last 3 years. So we work for thousands of clients, we work with hundreds of technologies. I have seen what works, what is not working. So maybe I'll try to concise that and try to bring that in next few minutes, that how this AI is impacting the industry and what we all should do to get the value. 3 years back, I wrote a book, Automation Advantage. It was based on a very simple principle, that if we automate the right things within the organization, then we liberate the human potential. Some of the copies of the books available here. What we have painted in that book, the future of technology which will come in the enterprise, how AI will shape up and change the industries in the future. In 2022, it was ambitious, it was futuristic, but now that future is here. We have crossed the line. We don't ask the machine anymore merely to follow our instructions. We expect machines to understand our intent and act accordingly. That is the world of automation. That world of automation which is all about the scripting, programming, pre-planning will get over. We are entering into the new era of autonomous, where systems will be developed which can sense, decide, act and learn. It will sense from the environment, like what we was hearing from the last speaker, from the sales pipeline, it can tell that what will be the sales forecast. It will decide based on data and it will act based on the agentic architecture, and most importantly, it will learn every day from every transaction. That is the future. That is my talk is all about, from automation to autonomous. That is the journey we all have to walk together, unless that wave decides on us. Let us talk about that journey. We already know about this and we have heard since morning. 22 with ChatGPT, it was all started as a very smart assistant. It can help us in our regular work. Then next year it got transformed into more of a writing code. 70% code will be written by AI, 60% testing will be done by AI, so on and so forth. We know the stories. In 2024, it has become the agentic. It is all about the agentic architecture. The agent will do the things. There are different characteristics of the agent: supervisory agent, task agent, and so on and so forth. And then finally, this year, it is all about the execution. The organizations are executing, enterprises are adopting and executing in scale. How many people in this room really believes that AI is real and this is the technology is here to stay? Raise your hand. Yes, you all are right. In this year, more than 1.5 trillion capital investment has taken place, which is real. It is more than 1.1% of the US GDP in terms of the capex investment. That is real. 71% of the enterprise are actively using this technology in their business. That is real, and that has gone up from 33% in 2 years back. So adoption is happening, adoption is at speed. 4,500 new AI company has started in India, last 24 months, which is 9x of in the past. So this says the AI is real, the technology is here to stay. But at the same time, I want all of you to understand and look at this data. The 10 AI companies, 10 loss-making AI companies, total valuation is $1 trillion. Recent MIT study shows that $30 to $40 billion corporate enterprise has invested on AI. 95% of those projects, the investment has not created the expected value which is reflected in the P&L, which is tangible, visible in affecting the balance sheet. The cost of AI, the compute cost of AI, cloud cost of AI is growing to 5x than the revenue. There are a company with only $50 million revenue is valued as $1 billion. That's a fancy pricing. 75 to 85% of this, 85 to 88% of the AI companies, AI startups are not yet making any money. That is a data point. And across the country, across the globe, governments is busy in writing the legal framework, 2,000 plus legal framework to control AI. So Professor Marcus, I mentioned here, he feels a New York NYC professor. He thinks that this is an AI bubble, so bubble may burst. But this is nothing to worry, because we have seen that in all past technologies. In PC, when it started, it was a bubble. then there was a correction. The same thing happened in .com, same thing happened in cloud, same thing happened in crypto. When the new technology comes, it creates the excitement, creates lots of startup, lots of higher valuation. Then the correction takes place, then the consolidation happen, and then the maturity happen. So good thing is that technology is real, technology is here to stay, and this data shows that it is scaling up. Now, we need to understand why it is not creating the value. That is the fundamental question, that everybody is so excited about the technology. We all love AI, we love all the use case, but it's not getting reflected in the balance sheet. It's not giving the business outcome. Why? I think most of the people are still trying to use AI as an automation tool. When I talk to the various CEOs across the globe, 85% of them, they feel that AI is a tool, how to reduce the effort, how to reduce the headcount using the AI. 15% of the people are thinking that how to create more business outcome, business value with AI. So we need to think AI is more than just automation tool. Yes, it will automate something. Yes, it will eliminate some job. It will create new job, but it is much more than that. The way I think, like any, way back from the Industrial Revolution, when the new machine came, it always elevated our power, but it enhanced our muscle power. Suppose if I have to lift weight, maybe I will be able to lift 50 kg. But with a machine, I can lift 500 kgs with lesser effort. That's the tool, that's the machine. Think of AI is exactly same thing, only thing that not lifting the weight, it should enhance our intellect. It is enhance the brain power of these people. It is enhance the IQ of our workers. So if we need to think that we should use AI not for replacing people, not for replacing workers, but how do we make sure we enhance the capability of each and every person in the enterprise, each and every person in the organization with the power of AI. Let us think of how can you enhance your performance in one area, you all do multiple things, I am sure. In one area, you should be able to do 5 to 10x better with use of AI. Identify that area, that will give the benefit. So this is the crux of this AI. There are agentic workforce, there are many technology behind it. I'm not going into that, but fundamentally we need to think through that how we can use AI to enhance the capability of the workforce. That's the new way of thinking. What I strongly believe, in next 3 to 5 years down the line, every individual in the world will have a personal digital brain or personal cognitive brain. Every business will have an enterprise digital brain, and every nation, every government will have a national digital brain. When I say national digital brain, when I say the enterprise cognitive brain, what exactly I mean? It is not the only LLM. LLM gives the world knowledge. Anything you ask ChatGPT, it gives an answer. It's a world knowledge. To run Accenture, I don't need so much knowledge. I need my pipeline, I need my rate card, I need my offering, I need my capabilities and so on and so forth. I need only that much. Now just think of that, if I digitize, if I AI enabled all of my organizational capability, organizational knowledge, and combine that with AI LLMs, then that creates the cognitive brain. And that is extremely powerful concept, and that is very much doable, that is happening today. Same thing, when you use ChatGPT, that's a general ChatGPT for everything. It does not know you. Once we believe that in the future, it will get more personalized for you. It will know your preference, your liking, disliking, way of talking, way of writing. Once that knows, that will enhance your capability. So this is a concept will create the unbound opportunity and create value in the society, in the enterprise in the coming days. Now, I have got many examples of that. Interest of time, I will not go able to cover that. But I will cover one thing from the government, how the government is using it. I saw that few days back. I thought it is interesting. So, there is a small country called Albania. It is southeast of Europe, 1 million plus population. They have appointed AI minister. No big deal, government can appoint AI minister. But what is unique is their AI minister is an AI agent. So that AI agent knows all of the government working, government rule, government policies, government law, and participate in every meeting, get access to all the files, and help government to decide. And in last 1 year's success, now that digital agent is delivering 83 babies. Those babies will work in 83 different departments. So they will participate all government meeting, internal meeting. And just imagine, all 83 babies will share common brain with their mother. They will access the same vector database, which is GenAI database. It will access the same knowledge graph, so that there is no more silos in the government. It's everything is available, this agent knows. This is not story, this is real. This technology is possible, this technology is available today, it is used. I'll give you one example from Accenture. We run the global innovation contest. All our clients and all, we run this innovation. So in the final finale, there will be 10 people who will present, 10 teams will present, and there will be judges who will judge. So there will be 6 judges, our CEO will be there, I'll be there, and few others. So this year what we have done, we have added the 7th judge, and that was AI agent. And that AI agent similarly participated in that forum, and it was directly with the audio visual feed, had directly learned about the presentation at the end, helps us to decide who should be the winner. And that analysis, that conclusion was more powerful than any of the human judges, because that AI knows more than us any day. So this technology is there, it will be the multiple areas you will find that thing. Okay, I'll go fast. So what should we do? I'm sure there are many people are from the startups here. If you are a startup community, I will say the 5 things everyone should follow. One is that solve the real problem. Do not talk about the capability building. Solve the real business problem which will deliver the value. Differentiation is a survival. Create a moat around you. Always think what you are doing with the AI, can OpenAI or Google can do that tomorrow. So your IP is your data, your industry knowledge. Let us create a moat around that. Lead with ethics. Remember that ethics is your license to operate. Ethics is not an afterthought. In AI, ethics is essential, and that is a license to operate. Focus on the distribution. The people on the AI, when I talk to the AI startups, they only focus on the technology. But more than the technology, the distribution is more important. That go-to-market is the king. Create the ecosystem. Create the ecosystem. Don't try to create something in isolation. You cannot do everything of your own. So it has to be open architecture, so that you work with the other players and spend the capital carefully. Because we know that the valuation problem I talked about. What enterprise should do, 95% are not getting value. So lead with a purpose. Do not think AI is another tool. Lead with a purpose, which take the initiative which will give a business outcome. Build the data foundation. I think one of the panel we talked about that, create the infrastructure. The data foundation is absolutely critical. That data is like an oxygen for that AI. All those good AI engine, AI agents will work, but they breathe data. So data has to be clean and should be available. Equip your people and tools. Like in Accenture, we have almost 750,000 plus people. We are training all the people into the AI, irrespective of whatever they do. But more than that, we are also enabling all the tools what they use. Those tools should be AI enabled. So that is how it builds the culture. Redesign the operating model. Do not try to automate existing process, and create the trust and governance. Then finally, talk about the professionals. As a professionals, what we should do? As a professionals, to adopt this technology, lead with a value. It is not a tools implementation. Do not think AI implementation is just a tools implementation. Always lead with a value. Irrespective of your profession, let us make sure you master this AI prompting. It is irrespective of your industry, irrespective of your area of work, AI prompting is something everybody need to learn in the future. Let us make sure that you build that proficiency. Build the domain expertise in this, write the domain expertise, invest on that industry knowledge and domain, and create that, co-create with the client. So those are the few things as a professionals we need to do as a learn about this AI. Okay, let me conclude with this. So this is the journey from automation to autonomy. Every new technology, when it starts with automation. That means we try to automate what we know. But it is truly transformative when it is autonomous. When we discover what we do not know, and this is one such moment that technology can help us to discover what we do not know. And that is the new systems we are developing, that is the new enterprise we are trying to build. So here is my invitation to all of you. Let us make a commitment to do 3 things in next 90 days. Number 1, let us identify in your scope of work, whatever you do in your enterprise, at least one area where you will use AI which should give the direct business value in terms of the growth, cost saving or customer experience. So that is number 1. Number 2, let us identify one small process in your organization, in your area, where you empower somebody to do their job better with AI. It is not about replacing that person with AI. That is what we always think, I will eliminate people. No. Let us find out one area how you can empower people with AI in their scope of work within your organization. And third thing is identify one thing what you do in your job, in your scope of work, where you should be able to use AI to perform 5 to 6x better. To perform 5 to 6x better. If we all can collectively do these 3 simple things, I can tell you, we will create AI-enabled enterprise. We will create AI-enabled workforce. We will create AI-enabled nation. Then we will not talk about whether AI will take our job. We will not talk about whether AI bubble will burst. We will all ride in this wave of AI and we all be successful and prosper with this huge unbound opportunity. So let us work together. Let us start our journey today from automation to autonomous. And I am sure that is something will make all of us successful in coming decades. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh, for that outstanding talk. May I request Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee to kindly come forward to do the felicitations for Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh. Thank you very much, sir.
I don't think you missed any.
No, thank you.
Always a pleasure listening. Thank you, sir.
And here is
Thank you very
Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee, CEO of the ABB Group, felicitating and gifting Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, to close the morning, we have a leadership note from a global technology leader. Please welcome Mr. Amar Babu, President, Lenovo Asia Pacific. A huge round of applause as I welcome him on stage. Sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I've been told that I am the last speaker of the morning session, and I stand between you and lunch. Obviously, there's some pros and cons of that. The good thing is that at least I'm sure none of you would be sleepy because you'll all be hungry. So hopefully you're awake to listen to what I have to say. The flip side of that, of course, is that as both my speakers before me have mentioned, you've been hearing about AI from the morning. And by now you have heard every part, everything pertaining to AI in different ways, in different factors, in different facets of the technology. Now, I would have loved to talk something else other than AI. It would have been maybe a little more interesting. Unfortunately, the theme of this conference is about technology future forward. And the moment you have a theme like this, in today's world, if you don't talk about AI, you're not talking about what's there in the future. So please bear with me as I give you a little different perspective, or at least the Lenovo perspective of how we see AI shaping the future, shaping the next decade. Of course, as one of the world's largest technology companies, we are bang in the middle of this, enabling AI development, enabling AI distribution, democratization through infrastructure, services, and solutions. So we do look at this from a business perspective. We've been at it for well over a decade now, creating the technology, but this is really about bringing this to life. Now, I'm sure one thing that you would have realized by now, having heard all the great keynotes since morning, it's been very enlightening for me as well to really hear different facets, that we are in the middle of one of the most profound technological revolutions that has happened. I mean, I might even go up to say that one of the most biggest revolutions that is happening as we speak. It's because this technology is going to affect the way we work, the way we live, the way we interact, the way we execute. There is a lot that's going to change in the coming decades, enabled by AI at the core. So that's why it is something that you will hear a lot about. The pace, the rapid pace of this technological development is beating anything else. You know, I've been now in the industry for over 35 years, and I've seen various cycles of technology development. Of course, you know, the Pentium, the internet, the Wi-Fi, there are many of these that have dramatically changed the way we work. But I have not seen something as fast, as quick as what we are seeing right now. I mean, Dr. Ghosh showed a very nice slide where he talked about how things are changing like 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That just shows how fast this is developing, and that's one of the opportunities as well as the challenge. Now, we have heard about our Honorable Prime Minister's vision of AI for all. And, very humbly, this somehow coincided with my company's vision, Lenovo's vision of smarter AI for all. And if you try to break that out, what should that mean, right? And try to really understand, when we say AI for all, what can it be? And from my perspective, one of the most important things for a country like ours, that it's got to be inclusive. It has to be a technology that's not just in the realm of a few companies or the realm of a few people who can afford it. It's got to be something that has to be inclusive, that touches the entire strata of our population end to end. And I think Ms. Bhattacharya talked about how you can use this technology for health, for education, and I think there is huge amount of applications that are real that can actually make this help bridge some bit of the social divide that we have in terms of the quality of education, healthcare, technology, knowledge that people have across the country. The other thing is the opportunity of this, because given the kind of digital stack that the government has built, we are actually ahead in this race. I mean, make no mistake, India is not at all behind in AI technology, deployment, or understanding. In fact, the kind of innovation that we can do here with the skill set that we have, and some of you are here in this room, actually it's not just about innovating for India, but it's about innovating for the world. I believe that there are lots of solutions that we develop can actually be taken and applied. I mean, today, as we know, we have UPI, Aadhaar, all of that actually going to other markets and other countries. AI gives us an opportunity to build real-life solutions, solving real-life problems that we can actually use to solve, of course, what challenges we have, but also solve this for the world. Obviously, there's a huge amount of investments that are going into AI, and these are some numbers that you can see on the chart here. These are data that we have seen that by 2027, which is not too far away, the spending will be about $6 billion. Obviously, the expectation is that this kind of investment will elevate or actually make our GDP grow faster. And someone has estimated that this can contribute up to 8 to 10% improvement or elevation in our GDP, accelerating or actually helping support our dream of becoming the fourth largest economy or the 5 trillion economy and the fourth largest by 2026. So this is not just a technology that can drive a little bit of efficiency. This is actually something that can drive a huge amount of growth across all the entire country, across all businesses. The key thing is about to democratize AI. And what do I mean by democratization? It's exactly what I started off with. This is really about how we can bring AI to everyone. I'm sure you're all reading the billions of dollars of investments that companies are making to build large data centers, right? I mean, OpenAI is investing hundreds of billions of dollars, Meta, some of the big names. Now, there might be then an apprehension that how do companies, and I heard a question from someone earlier talking about what does it mean for a small and medium business? I mean, how can a small and medium business forget about hundreds of billion, even $1 billion or millions of dollars? That's the challenge. How do we make sure, and that's what we as a company are looking to try and enable. How do we make sure that AI, the benefits of AI, reach everyone, reach every size of company, and how can everyone participate in this technological opportunity and revolution? And it's not a choice. Truly, I think it is an imperative. It is not if you do it, it is about when you do it, where you do it. And it's also about enabling. And the good thing is we are seeing this happening. Those billions, hundreds of billions of dollars are actually going to build large, very large data centers that support very large bits of data based, very large language models, building huge models and algorithms running on those data. But now we are seeing that there is an opportunity to bring it. and bring it down to different. So this is where we believe that this is what we call a hybrid AI model. And a hybrid AI model that allows us to bring AI to an individual, to a small company, to a large company, of course supporting the large language models that are needed in the public domain, whether it's sovereign AI of large governments or large language models such as ChatGPT, etc. We need a hybrid infrastructure that would allow to deliver this vision of bringing a smarter future or a smarter AI for all, what we talk about as AI democratization. So what do I mean, or what do we mean by hybrid AI? There are three aspects to this. Public AI is what I think everybody is well aware of. And when I mean public AI, I'm talking about ChatGPT, Gemini, etc. Right? So now, I mean, if you actually go back to the history of some of these technological changes, you would find that most of these changes actually emanated in research labs, universities, you know, a few geeks got around to actually work on something, and then some people started using it, and then it flows down, and then after some time it becomes more and more commonplace as the costs reduce. So there is a classic technological curve, you know, where you see the costs, the technology maturity going up, costs coming down, leading to large-scale adoption. That's been traditionally the trend of technological changes. In this case, it's actually gone the other way around. And even one must credit ChatGPT for it, because ChatGPT suddenly brought generative AI into everyone's hands. And it actually started with the individual. Now suddenly, I mean, in a company, it was not the CIO who was saying, okay, I need to bring this technology. It was the CEO asking the CIO saying, you know, there is AI happening. I need AI. Oh, no, what is AI? I don't know, but I need AI. Because if I don't do AI, we might lose out to competition. So suddenly this whole way of driving it has actually gone the other way around. So we've started with public AI, and we do have the large language models. We need huge infrastructure. There are some concerns around power consumptions, etc. I'll talk about a little later. But nonetheless, these have enabled and spawned a huge level of automation. Of course, enabled by very powerful technology that allows us to today compute and handle millions of units or billions of data points, parameters, to be able to build these very complex algorithms that allows us to do what AI, I'm sure you've heard today about forecasting, about customer service, about assistance, etc., etc. So that infrastructure definitely is what? But it's in the cloud, and it's in public domain. Now, if you need to democratize and bring it, then there is an element of what does it mean for me as an individual? What is personal AI? How can I bring the power of AI to make me as an individual more productive, more efficient? And how do we make it more commonplace? Now comes the enterprise version of this. In an enterprise, one of the most critical elements is data. And that is serious IP. That's what differentiates each company from its competition. You need to be able to protect it. So you need to build models that are actually within the enterprise, maybe leveraging some public data, but still within the enterprise, meeting specific functions that each enterprise has. Every enterprise has a sales function, has a marketing function. Some have a manufacturing function. Some would have a legal function, etc., etc. So how do you build a model where within an enterprise, you are able to build different models and algorithms that pertain to different functions, supporting employees in these functions through an agentic interface, right? So that's kind of what we say is enterprise AI. So from a Lenovo perspective, that's what we are trying to do, saying we believe that this is how AI will evolve, and our efforts have been to try and see how do we enable each of these and support the growth in each of these different elements of hybrid AI. Let me talk about personal AI. And in a very simple way, our vision of personal AI is one personal AI agent, call it a super agent or what you may, but one AI, multiple devices. Because we as individuals interface today with multiple devices, of course, starting with this, right? I'm sure all of us have one, and we know that there is AI already in our smartphones, right? Getting into maybe a tablet, maybe at the edge, maybe a laptop, maybe a desktop, different devices that we interface with. Tomorrow you'll find more and more AI native devices coming in. How many of you have heard of the smart goggles? Right? I don't know whether any of you have experienced the new Ray-Bans that have come up, right? That can actually play music, that can actually, when you're seeing something, let's say you're seeing a picture, you actually use it to search and tell you what the picture is about in front of you. It's pretty cool, by the way. If you haven't tried it, I do encourage you to try it, right? So there could be a lot of AI native devices that's coming up. Now, our belief is that each of them cannot work independently. They have to work as a whole. And you'll need one agent that hopefully sees what you see, hears what you hear. And over a period of time, through learning across these devices, starts becoming your personal AI twin. Starts maybe to a point of time thinking like what you think. And at some time, maybe act like what you would act. Right? And there are many examples that have been given about how an agent could order coffee for you if the agent knows that, you take coffee at this time in the morning or from this on your way to work or something like that, right? So there are many such examples. Maybe book a ticket for you in your favorite airline in the class that you normally travel. Build a holiday plan for you depending on what each of you like to do in a holiday. Somebody likes a morning calendar 9 to 9 fully packed up. Some people like a mixture of relaxation and so on. So the whole idea is that over a period of time, as you allow this agent to learn about you across your devices, that agent starts becoming and makes you a personal twin, significantly improving one's efficiency, productivity over a period of time, and becoming your individual personal assistant. And that's our vision of a personal AI, one personal AI, multiple devices. When we talk about enterprise AI, and I think there's been a lot of presentations earlier, so I don't want to repeat what's been said. And as I said, it's been like we started off with simple algorithms, simple machine learning. That's been actually some time ago, right? I mean, AI is not new, by the way, and I'm sure many of you have already used it. We know about machine learning for a long time. It's been there for over a decade now, almost. So actually what changed was conversational AI or generative AI. Now we are in the era of agentic AI, and what is not on this chart is we are moving into the world of robotic AI, or as the previous speaker mentioned, autonomous AI, right? So, and this is happening very, very quickly. So one of the challenges that I've heard as I meet CIOs in my job is, when do I enter this technology? Because if I'm entering today, maybe tomorrow it's already changed. Now that's a challenge that we all have. But I'm sure you would have been convinced by now that it's not about when, it's not about if. You have to start and build this. And in our view, it obviously it starts with the infrastructure. You need to have the right infrastructure. Most enterprises are doing this on-prem. Many of them are also doing it on the cloud. It's a mix. It's a hybrid environment. So you do the right infrastructure, but really it's then boils down to the data. And that is actually one of the biggest challenges that CIOs have, because data is not clean, it's not in one place, it's not in a very structured way, but then there is a lot of effort needed then to engineer the data, and from the data, build the intelligence, because that's where the real intelligence lies, for which you need the models. You need inferencing at the edge. The large models might be happening on the cloud, but the inferencing, using that data, you building those models, and then using your data to infer actions, infer what is, like, for example, as Ms. Arundhati was talking about, the forecast based on what's in the past. That's the inferencing. So the inferencing that will start happening at the edge and within the companies, and then build those models. And from there then goes out to make the agents. And the agents could be a marketing agent, a sales agent, a legal agent, a finance agent, and so on and so forth. So we ourselves, I mean, in our own company, we are last quarter, we just announced our results. We did about $20 billion. We manufacture about, on an average, about 30 million units, devices a quarter, managing about thousands of individual components, delivering business across 165 countries. Very complex, right? And we have a very complex environment. So obviously, we use AI a lot in our end-to-end operations. And we believe that actually many of you would be looking at it, right? It's very interesting. We had a recent workshop just 2 weeks ago with the top CIOs of Asia Pacific. And we were asking them to tell us use cases, right? Because everybody's talking about use cases. Is it real, et cetera, et cetera. But and surprisingly or not surprisingly, everybody had done AI in some way or the other. But you won't be surprised what was the most common area of AI usage inside a recent, these were large organizations. Would you want to take a guess which function is the first, or almost everybody had some kind of AI in that particular function inside an organization? Want to take a guess? It was, HR is a good one, it was actually legal. Right? And if you think about it, you realize that, yeah, it makes a lot of sense because legal is about huge amounts, volumes of contracts that companies deal with, and you need to get it right. You can't make a mistake, right? So legal is the first one. Customer service is definitely another one that they've entered. HR is definitely, Salesforce management is the other one. So we're seeing a lot of this happen and this evolution happen. And this whole AI advantage stack is what we are trying to enable and work with enterprises to say, okay, let's see where your data is. Maybe we pick an area, build the model, build the inferencing, and we are building a set of agentic AI library, not ourselves, working with multiple partners such as Salesforce and others to actually start saying, okay, here is where you can pick up and then build and develop from there. And let's make no mistake, AI is definitely making an impact. And I can go on giving you many examples of the kind of projects that we have enabled, that we have been part of, and also projects that we have heard of. And there have been some very interesting applications. I can spend the rest of the afternoon here talking about the kind of examples that I've seen beyond the ordinary, beyond the usual ones that you can relate to. So, and some of them are making very good social impact. Let me give you one example, which is not from India. It is actually from Thailand. But I thought it was a fantastic example of how you can use technology, right? So all of you know that Thailand is one of the most popular tourist destinations. In fact, I think I just read recently that it's one of the most popular for Indians. Now, there are tourist hotspots, right, when you go to any of these, Bangkok or any of these cities. Now, when you have hotspots of tourists with a lot of tourists, promptly you attract the not so good elements who want to try and steal or pickpockets, etc., from the tourists. But the Thai tourism police understands that if they want more tourists, they need to make Thailand a safe place. So what they have done is they've actually built a network of cameras and a database of all these bad elements, and real time, they're actually tracking if they see any of these bad elements at any of the tourist hotspots that is across at least Bangkok as a city. This was from the police commissioner of Bangkok who was explaining this application, right? Anywhere in Bangkok, they see, and they immediately call the beat or the police next to it to go and make sure that they remove that person from there. Now, it's a fantastic, very simple application, but something you cannot do as a human because you just can't match so many images real time to be able to go and take an action immediately. So there are also a lot of such examples that I can pick up. We've been working, especially with education with students, to actually make AI, use AI to help some of our not so privileged sets of people who don't go to a formal class to actually trained them on vocational engineering, including how to repair a phone, repair a laptop, and actually we're using AI to teach them, and they've been very, very receptive. Now, one thing you see there, FIFA. I know I'm coming to the part of the world where football is very, very popular. And I'm very proud to say that Lenovo is actually a technology partner for FIFA. And we will be enabling the technology for the next FIFA World Cup that's going to happen in US and Canada next year. Right? Now, imagine supporting FIFA as an event. It's obviously by far the largest watched event in the world. Right? Each weekend of matches will generate 600 terabytes of data that is going to be then processed and broadcast to over 160 odd countries across the world real time. And you need to do it while making sure you have the right quality. You're also going to see some very interesting use of the VAR technology, new ways of doing it, where we will be embedding AI so that there is no more of these, suspect VAR decisions. So you're going to find it very interesting, and we're very proud. So as I said, I can go on with many examples, but these are real-life examples that's making an impact. Finally, before I close, I think one of the things that we need to keep in mind is that we as a country need to develop our own models with local data. Some of the models that we have from worldwide not be applicable for us, because remember, the data tells the story, the data tells the culture, the data tells behavior. We can't take data from an international market, take that model and apply it to our market, right? In my job, I handle Asia Pacific, so I handle very diverse markets like Japan, Australia, of course, India, Indonesia, Thailand, etc. And I can tell you that when we want to forecast data, it's very different the way we use AI or the way the behavior is. And even the models have to be different, because the way let's say my sales team behaves in Japan, or the customer needs in Japan, are very different from what customers expect and need and appreciate in India. So there is a strong need to build local models with our own local data. And that localization is very critical. Of course, from there comes the local agents with our specific local requirements, because based on the data, you build the model, which will then develop into agents that can act on your behalf. That would solve real-life problems that are specific to our country. And this needs local innovation. And the reason I'm calling this is, I really believe this is where we are technology providers, we are technology enablers. We will bring the best of technology to India. Today, Lenovo has R&D, we design our servers in India, we manufacture GPU servers in India, we have the best of technology. So that enablement is there, but the innovation needs to come from this audience and many others like you. Innovating with the local problems, with local data. And I believe that as we localize for India, we can actually innovate for the world. And so that is what we are building. As a company, we are enabling smarter AI for all. This is just a quick summary of what we are as a company and where we are. We have built a huge amount of platforms for it across, we have solutions. Of course, we have AI-ready laptops, workstations, infrastructure, servers, storage. We have built an AI library. We are working with many partners and many AI innovators so that we can build this platform and this whole, as I call, the hybrid AI advantage, or a hybrid AI stack of infrastructure, data, models, an agentic library, an AI factory coupled with AI services, delivering agents through an agentic library, and enabling the smarter AI for all. Now, one thing on this chart that I want to point out is this last thing called Lenovo Neptune. And the reason I want to talk about it, it's not just, I'm not going to talk about a product specifically, but this is actually a liquid cooling innovation that we have done. Well, why is this important? I'm sure all of you have heard about the power consumption that is needed by some of these large iron gear, large infrastructure. So we need to now keep finding ways through liquid cooling. We actually reduce the power consumption depending on the usage between 20 to 30%, which in a very large data center can be substantial, right? So we all need to make sure that as we build this whole, or as we be part of this revolution or this technological transformation that's happening, we also are talking about sustainable, responsible, and ethical AI. So in fact, in our organization, we have a chief AI officer whose task it is to build this. For example, to make sure that AI is not biased. Because there is a lot of bias in the data. And again, which is where I said, if we use international models, they have their own bias. And it may not be appropriate for us, right? So how do we make sure that there is no inherent bias in the data? One of the things that we are not supportive of is AI generating data to train models on, right? Because there's not enough data available. So now we have this situation where AI is generating data so that that data then trains. Now what happens? If there is bias in that data, we perpetuate that bias. And suddenly, when we perpetuate it so much, the bias can become the reality, which we don't want happening. So I think it's up to us, and of course, the industry, and I'm sure the governments will have a huge role to play to make sure that as we build, as we all work together to build smarter AI for all, we are building responsible, we are building an ethical, and we are building a sustainable AI. So I want to take this opportunity to really thank the organizers. I'm coming back to INFOCOM after many years. I've been associated in the past. It's a pleasure to be back again, and it's my privilege and honor to actually talk to all of you here. And I'm delighted to come back. By the way, I studied not far away from here many years ago in Jamshedpur. So, this is to be my weekend jaunt. I love this city, and then thanks to the ABP team for giving me an opportunity to coming back to Kolkata. And I look forward to building this AI-powered future together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Amar Babu, for that inspiring keynote. May I request Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee to kindly come forward and offer a token of our gratitude to Mr. Amar Babu. Thank you very much, sir, for your gracious presence and for sharing your insights with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now break for lunch. But let me tell you that lunch is only at 1:30. So in the meanwhile, you can do some networking, take some pictures, tag us, write your stories, and please be back here by 14:20. That is 2:20. Now, how many of you here like contests? How many of you would like to win a prize? Yes, I can see a lot of hands going up. Then you have to be here back by 2:20 sharp, because your seats are actually going to give you the prizes. So you will have to come back here to win those prizes, since you, since you love the contest and you love the prizes, you have to be here to win them. So have a great time networking, and please be back with us to get more of the afternoon of INFOCOM Calcutta 2025.
Hey Calcutta, light it up bright. INFOCOM's here, the future in sight. Technology forward, we're breaking through. Dream it, code it, make it new. From every bite to every beat, innovation's got us on our feet. AI, cloud, the vibes alive. INFOCOM 2025 ideas flying, hearts collide. INFOCOM 2025, tech with pride. Hey Calcutta, light it up bright. INFOCOM's here, the future in sight. Technology forward, we're breaking through. Dream it, code it, make it new. From every bite to every beat, innovation's got us on our feet. AI, cloud, the vibes alive. INFOCOM 2025 ideas flying, hearts collide. INFOCOM 2025, tech with pride. Hey Calcutta, light it up bright. INFOCOM's here, the future in sight. Technology forward, we're breaking through. Dream it, code it, make it new. From every bite to every beat, innovation's got us on our feet. AI, cloud, the vibes alive. INFOCOM 2025 ideas flying, hearts collide. INFOCOM 2025, tech with pride. INFOCOM rising. future in sight. Technology forward, we're breaking through. Dream it, code it, make it new. From every bite to every beat, innovation's got us on our feet. AI, cloud, the vibes alive. INFOCOM 2025 ideas flying, hearts collide. INFOCOM 2025, tech with pride. Technology forward, the world's in view. Today begins right here with you. INFOCOM rising, shining bright. INFOCOM 2025. Future ignites. Hey, calculator, light it up bright. INFOCOM's here, the future in sight. Technology.